to celebrate my 25 years in the business. It really is an honour for you all. No, I'm joking. So, where to start? Well, 25 years. I'm sure most of you know a lot of my career. You've probably followed it over the years. So what I'd like to do is take you right back to the beginning. Well, not that far back to the beginning. So picture this, 1963. The place is Newham. And there, at Plaistow Hospital, I'm born. Margaret Llewellyn, youngest of 4. Now, I know lots of you say, oh no, she wasn't born in Newham, surely. I'm sure you think that from the characters I play, I couldn't have been born in Newham. But indeed I was. Well, I am from the East End of London. In fact, I used to sound just like Danny Dyer. I really did. So yes, wonderful family I had. Grew up in Newham. I was the youngest of 4, 2 older sisters and a brother. I have a lovely mum. Oh, she's my hero. She really is a wonderful woman. She did a fantastic job in bringing us up. Full of energy, honestly, always there. Just, I wish I had as much energy as she did. And we didn't want for the finer things in life. Well, I mean, we knew we would never get them. But we didn't want for anything. She was there every day, always had a dinner on the table, and every night she would tuck us in, which I'm really grateful for. And she would always try and make us dance with a laugh, with a song and dance. My dad, great guy, real joker, my dad, loves a laugh, great laugh himself. And a very hard-working man. Worked at Ford's in Dagenham, where I know lots of the gentlemen from East London worked. Crap at DIY. And he was always on a project as well, usually a boat. I don't know why, we lived in Newham. I don't know where he thought he was going to put it. But fortunately for us, it was never seaworthy, so we escaped that. But yes, I had a great time growing up in Newham. As I said, I must say, I do have my prompt cards. I hope you don't mind. I'm slightly old now, so I need them every now and then. So yes, my first taste of showbiz. Well, I was 3 years old, and my 2 sisters, Debbie and Julie, used to go to a tap dancing club. And they were putting on a show one day, which I was taken to. And I remember there were lots of other things going on. It was in a scout hall. I was watching some of the shows. And then suddenly, my sisters got up and got on the stage. And they started singing an old Beverly Sisters song called Sisters. I don't know if you remember it. Mm-hmm. Sisters, sisters. Some of you remember it. And I'd heard them singing it, and I thought, I'm their sister, I want to be on there. So I'm 3 years old. So the stage is in front of me, a huge mountain of stairs. Probably about 4 or 5 actually, but to me it was massive. I climbed up the stairs. Everyone's looking at me, and I got to the top, and I stood there and looked out at all the people looking at me, rather like you are now. I was tiny, very cute, they loved it. That was it. I was hooked. I stole the show, stole the applause, stole everything, and that was it. From then on, that was what I wanted to do. So, my sisters used to go dancing every Saturday. And after that, I begged my mum to let me go with them, because I wanted to learn the dancing like my sisters. And, much to their dismay, my mum did let me go. Excuse me, I just pop these on. So, we went to tap dancing on a Saturday. And it was run by a very strange woman. I loved her. She was like nobody I'd ever met before. She was Madame Zaza. And she was Russian. I'd never seen anyone like her. She was as wide as she was tall. She was like a Russian tank, honestly. She terrified the life out of everybody. But when she danced, my goodness, she was like a gazelle. It was unbelievable. And I thank her for teaching me how to tap dance. And with your permission, I'd now like to show you the first song and dance I was ever taught by Madame Zaza. Mommy, thank you, lovely, if you could do my music for me. It's been a long time, please forgive the voice. I just got an invitation through the mail. Your presence requested this evening, it's formal, a top hat, a white tie and tails. Nothing now can take the wind out of my sails. Because I'm invited to step out this evening with top hat and white tie and tail. I'm putting on my top hat, tying up my white tie, brushing off my tail. I'm busting up my work time, dancing in my tent. Thank you so much. It's like riding a bicycle, you never forget, do you? So yes, growing up in Newham as a child was wonderful. It was very nice. It was rough. It was loud, dirty, a bit like Katie Price actually. It was just an ordinary life. Going to school, going to dance on Saturdays, which I loved. And that carried on until my teens. But then in the late 70s, something special happened. Something that blew dancing out of the water. Some of you will remember the birth of the Stratford shopping centre. Hallelujah! That was it. From then on, Saturdays, dancing was gone. Me and my best friend Annie, down to Stratford shopping centre, with our purses stuffed full of cash. Honestly, we were like the great train robbers. You remember, we had pound notes then, probably had about £6 between us. But yes, every Saturday, down the shopping centre, we used to go into C&A's, get our photos done in the photo booth, then off to Chelsea Girl, for a mooch around the shops, having a look at the fashions, and then slink into the Wimpy, oh yes, for a knickerbocker glory. It was absolutely the height of sophistication. Now, school was okay, but there wasn't really much that I was interested in. I liked English, you know, like most people, liked a bit of netball, but we didn't have drama or anything interesting that I wanted to do. So I had no idea what I wanted to do when I left school. And at that time, if you were an East End working class kid, there were no aspirations for you. You were either going into an office, into a building site, or into a factory, one of the three, take your pick. And I remember there was no internet, I could find out nothing then. So the only way of finding out any information was through the all-hallowed careers advisor. Do you remember him? Oh yes. And I remember when he came to see me, I rather shyly suggested that I might actually like to be an actress. And he told me in no uncertain terms, they don't take people like you, you need to get a proper job. So that's what I did. Left school at 16, few GCSEs, wasn't GCSEs then, it was O-levels, wasn't it? Left school and started in an office in a dry cleaners. I don't think I lasted there very long actually. Yes, so that was it. Me and Annie, both at work, but we started going out dancing. And in those days in Newham we were very lucky. There were a couple of clubs that were just the business. It was almost like Studio 54 in New York. It was the room at the top. Oh yes, which was literally a room at the top of an office block. Nothing grand about it. And then there was also the Ilford Palais. The Palais! And the Palais is where I met someone who became very, very special to me. He was actually the love of my life. And I met him there. His name was Vinny. Wonderful. And I remember seeing him. He was gorgeous. Tall, dark and handsome. Tall, dark and handsome. Really fit. You could see he played lots of sports. Really athletic. And he told me he was going to be a footballer. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. I was a wag way before that crazy point. So there we were at Ilford Palais, and our eyes met across the dance floor to Earth, Wind and Fire. And by the end of the night, we were in Boogie Wonderland. So that was it. My heart was gone. Vinny was lovely. He really was a wonderful man. He was charming, kind, polite, and he absolutely adored me, which was the one thing I wanted. So we had a nice life. He'd be off training. By then I was working in a succession of factories. I worked in a beer factory, I worked in a sweet factory, and I worked in a sex toys factory. Now, the jobs were boring, but you know, I mean, the perks were absolutely fantastic, so we won't argue about that. So yes, Vinny and I settled down, and eventually we found a small flat in Hornchurch with our lovely landlady Rita. She was fantastic. And life was nice. Life was good, you know. It was comfortable, we were in love. He had football, which was his passion, but for me there was something missing. Didn't know what it was. So Vinny decided, we should get married. Well, he didn't actually ask me. He just said, should we have a party? So that was it. We decided to save up to get married. So the next few years, we saved up while we were in the flat. And as I say, he was out, excuse me for a moment, he was out training. I was at home watching Cammy and Lacey. Until the mid-80s, when something reignited my passion. Something came on our screens, something we'd never seen before, something that finally reflected me and who I was. I'm just going to say, doof, doof, doof. La 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 la. Yes, the birth of EastEnders. Now, during history, there have been many great double acts. Laurel and Hardy, Morecambe and Wise, French and Saunders. 2 names from EastEnders. Den and Angie. Oh my goodness. Their Christmas Day episode got over 30 million viewers. And it was this that made me want to be an actress. Now, I've always wanted to recreate the scene with Den and Angie, and I can see many of my illustrious colleagues here from acting. Oh, I can see Jamie Foxx in the front row, actually. Just wondering, Jamie, would you be so kind as to come up and play Dirty Den for me in a scene? Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Foxx. So let me just stand you over here. Now I'll just set the scene because Jamie's obviously from America and has never seen this show before. So, mid-80s, Den and Angie own a pub, the Queen Vic in Albert Square, okay? She's a bit of a lush. He's having an affair with a really posh lady called Jan. Angie finds out. She tries everything to get him back. She tries having affairs, she tries committing suicide. None of it works. So she decides to tell Den that she's dying of cancer and she only has 6 months to live. But Den takes her away to Venice and overhears her telling, in her drunken state, the barman what she's done. So this is the scene where he decides to confront her. So we're in a pub, okay, in the East End of London, trying to do your best Cockney soap acting if you can. Okay, I'm slightly drunk. I'm playing Ange. Okay, you ready? Oh, actually, I want the audience to help, because you're not going to be the only one that's going to help us. The very last line, Den will say, is Happy Christmas, Ange, okay? And then we will freeze. When you hear Happy Christmas, Ange, I want you all to do the doof, 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 and then the song for EastEnders. Are you ready? Should we have a practice? Let's have a practice. Say your very last line, Jamie.
Happy Christmas, Ange.
Not bad. Okay, that's fine. We'll go with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Den and Angie, EastEnders.
Yeah, Ange.
What? You talking to me?
Can I have a word?
Oh, excuse me, girls. His master's voice.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? I'm bushed, but it's been a hell of a day, ain't it? And I ain't strong, am I? Thanks for the best Christmas ever, Den.
Our last one.
You don't regret staying with me, do you? I don't want to get morbid today of all days, but it scares me. I don't think I can keep up this performance 24 hours a day.
Oh, you could keep this performance up for a lifetime. Like on the Orient Express. Like in the bar. Like chatting at the barman. Oh, I've told my husband this terrible lie. Not a little white lie, but one big black one. Remember, Ange? 'Cause I do. 'Cause I was sitting 4 feet away from you, lapping up every word. 6 little ones to live. 6 tragic words. Oh, poor old Ange. Pop off. That's got to be the sickest joke that you've ever played. And then what's well, now the joke's on you! This is my letter from my solicitor telling you that your husband has filed for divorce. And it also tells you to get a solicitor pretty damn quick. Happy Christmas, Ange.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James. So, well done. So anyway, back to the story. So there I am, me and Vinny in Hornchurch with the flat. I see EastEnders. I decide that that is what I want to do. I don't want to get married. So I had to make a really heartbreaking decision. And it was heartbreaking. I didn't walk down the aisle with Vinny and say I do. I broke his heart. And I broke mine too. And I took my savings and I went to drama school. It's a very sad ending. But the start of something new for me. And I'm sure you all know most of the story from here. I went to RADA. I was very fortunate enough to go to RADA with fantastic people, Kenneth Branagh, Timothy Spall, Imelda Staunton. I'll stop you name dropping. And on my first year out, I was very fortunate to win my first ever award, beating Dame Judy. Oh, hello, Dame Judy. She's at the back there. Hello. Beating her for the Evening Standard Best Actress, my first ever award. Well, I say my first award, it wasn't actually. I had won a trophy for dance years earlier for the East Ham Working Men's Ladies team. But that's something else. So, yes. So, the award was for RSC Shakespeare. It was for Richard II. And I know many of you haven't seen my stage work because I'm such a big movie star now. So, with your permission, I'd like you to indulge me. And I'd really love to recreate one of the speeches from Richard II. So, Jamie, I hope you don't mind if I use you. I'll just use you. You don't have to move, my darling, this time. I don't expect to do some Shakespeare on the spot. That would be asking a lot. So, I'll set the scene. So, I'm playing a duchess, the Duchess of Gloucester, and my husband has been killed. So, I go to his brother, John of Gaunt, to ask for revenge. I want something done about this murder. This cannot just be left to go. But John of Gaunt won't do anything. He says, no, we'll leave it. He will get his just rewards. So this is me pleading with John of Gaunt to do something about the murder. Thank you. Finds brotherhood in thee no sharper spur. Hath love in thy old blood no living fire. Edward's 7 sons, whereof thyself art one, were as 7 vials of his sacred blood, or 7 fair branches springing from one root. Some of those 7 are dried by nature's course, some of those branches by the destiny's cut. But Thomas, my dear Lord, my life, my Gloucester, is cracked, and all the precious liquor spilt is hacked down, and his summer leaves all faded by envy's hand and murder's bloody axe. Oh, Gaunt, his blood was thine. That bed, that womb, that metal, that self-mould that fashioned thee made him a man. And though thou livest and breathest, yet art thou slain in him. Thou dost consent in some small measure to thy father's death, and that thou seest thy wretched brother die, who was the model of thy father's life. Oh, call it not patience, Gaunt, it is despair. In suffering thus thy brother to be slaughtered, thou show the naked pathway to thy life, teaching stern murder how to butcher thee. That which we call patience in mean men is pale, cold cowardice in noble breasts. What shall I say? To safeguard thine own life, the best way is to venge my Gloucester's death. Thank you, ladies. Oh dear, I've come out all emotional. He certainly does know how to write, doesn't he, that Mr. Shakespeare? Very good. So yes. So after the Evening Standard Award, I think you know later that year I won the BAFTA, and that is when my career took off, literally. I jetted off to LA. And that's where I've been for the last 20 years, making wonderful movie after movie. I'm sure you've seen some of them. Success after success. Slightly embarrassing. I mean, you know what it's like being British. We don't like to honour our success. But America has been really lovely to me. It has been a great place. I have my own star on Hollywood Boulevard, in between John Wayne and Jane Russell, just in case you're interested. And I also was honoured to win the top of acting accolades when I was awarded the Oscar. Now, it's wonderful getting these accolades, but the Oscar does something very special. It gives you a chance to thank all of those people who are very special to you, who have helped you get where you want to be. Now, some of you, especially some of the younger ones, may not have been up late that night, so I do hope you'll indulge me, and I'd like to play the Oscar acceptance speech that I gave that night. Wow, she certainly knows how to deal with any technical challenges, and I think you'll all agree she has created a wonderful movie for us all. Next, I would also like to thank, obviously I cannot forget, my co-star, who played the lead role of the ambassador in the Project Home. So that's cast and crew. Okay, so now I need to move on to my personal thanks, and straight away I must thank my magnificent agents, Margaret and Julian, who have been there for me since the beginning. They really have. They are the kindest, most caring people you could wish to meet, and I just want to thank them for their generosity, their support, and for their faith in me throughout this. I'd also like to thank my managers, Jared and Cecilia. Thank you so much for being so caring. And yeah, Jared, thank you for always having a boogie with me at all the awards ceremonies. I'll look forward to one tonight. I also need to thank my stylist, George, who is the most creative and artistic man I think I've ever met. Then on to the wonderful Lauren, my fantastic publicist, who is an absolute whiz on the computer, and she has a heart of gold. And obviously I mustn't forget her faithful assistant, Molly. Thank you to you, Lauren. Next comes my choreographer, my dance teacher, my all-round fitness guru, the wonderful Melanie. Melanie, you are a superstar in your own right, and I look forward to you receiving an Oscar one day. Okay, next, who else do I need to thank? I need to thank my driver, Alan. Alan, oh, you're such a big softie. You never have anything bad to say about anyone. That's a wonderful gift. Thank you, Alan. To my comedy writers, Norman, who has such a dry, wicked sense of humour. He loves taking the mickey, but he's a good stick. And Ailey, I'm sure if you know him, has a fantastic laugh. Thank you to Norman and Ailey. Next, must not forget my social events manager, Darina, oh, we have such a great time. She loves a get-together, but unfortunately, we sometimes don't know when enough is enough. Finally, lastly, but certainly by no means least, I must give a huge thanks to my two personal assistants, without whom I would not be able to function. I don't know what I would do without them. Firstly, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the wonderful Doris. Doris, thank you for everything you've done. You are full of energy. I wish I had as much energy as you. You get everything done. Thank you, Doris. And secondly, I'd also like to thank the wonderful Doreen. You know, she's as soft as they come, but you don't mess with the door. We all know that. So thank you, everyone. Also, I mustn't forget a big shout out to all my friends back in England. Thank you for your support. So that would be Vincent, Vivian, John and Graham, Aidan and Callum, Ria and Ronnie, Millie, Jackson and Cassius. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to the Academy for this award, which I will treasure.
and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Moment, I would say, of my life, you know. And I know lots of people look at me and they go, oh, she's so lucky, she does a great job, you know, she's got lots of money, a big house, she flies all over the world, she goes to premieres, and you know what? They're right, I do have a wonderful life, it is amazing. I mean, I have travelled all over the world, which is quite strange because when I was at school, I think at one point I wanted to be an air hostess, so I could tick that off. And you know, I get to kiss the most gorgeous men in the world. I mean, I've worked with everybody: Harrison Ford, Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, stop me, I'm name dropping again. Oh no, indulge me, they're all gorgeous. Yeah, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, the lot. I've done them all. But yeah, that night at the Oscars, it was just amazing. You know, I had a fantastic night. And then Alan drove me home, and as I got to my Bel Air mansion, you know, I'm climbing up the steps towards the huge front door, and I've got Oscar in one hand and keys in the other. And I don't know what happened, but I opened the door, and oh, sorry, I just remembered what happened then. There was nothing. There was no sound. There wasn't even a light on. There was nothing. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that to catch me like that. I was going to say something else. Yeah, it's funny. It was empty, you know. And I realised that actually I've been going home to emptiness for many years. I mean, I hadn't noticed it. You know, you're so busy working and chasing and striving and trying to achieve. And then once you finally achieved everything, what's left? You know, and I remember I put the Oscar on the mantelpiece, you know, amongst all of the other accolades that I've got over the years, and I just felt nothing. There was no contentment, there was no fulfilment. Yeah. I mean, God, I can't even keep a pet, you know, I'm never there. It's a bit unfair. Mind you, it does have its perks, you know, if I want to, I can sit on the sofa and watch westerns all day, it doesn't really matter. So, yes, so that was what made me decide that I needed to come home and to come back to England, which is where I've been for the last year. And it's funny because I feel like I've come full circle, you know. I started playing a Duchess, and as you know now, I'm playing a Duchess in Downton Abbey, which I know many of you love. Yes, oh yes, I can see Dame Maggie at the back. She is extraordinary to work with. Hello, Dame Maggie. And I know you'll love it because you're always tweeting about it. So yes, back in Downton, and who knows what the future holds. I may go back to the stage. Or I may do something completely different and go on Strictly Come Dancing with Brucey, you know. But probably need to learn a few better steps than the ones I did at the Orphan Ballet, I think. Yeah. Actually, it's funny, I bumped into Vinny at Westfield. I went there to see what that was all about. And he was there, yeah, with his daughter. Who's beautiful, yeah. So that was nice. But it was nice to see him. So yes, who knows what the future holds. So I'd just like to thank you all for coming on this journey with me tonight to celebrate my 25 years. And I hope it is the start of something new for us all. So, would you please raise your glasses, and here's to another good 25 years. Cheers! Cheers.